stage. Okay, just to start things off, perhaps Direct Brad or Miss A, can you tell us something about the scene or what Motel Acacia is?
Yeah, maybe just for the scene.
Yeah.
The scene is basically JC is brought into this mysterious motel by his father, and this guy thinks that this is a place that illegal immigrants come in to get refuge, or where they do something illegal, where the father gives them like. But he soon realizes that this motel has a different purpose, and that is to actually kill these immigrants in this country. And the way they do it is through this crazy bit.
Crazy that eats humans and impregnates women.
Yeah.
So we'll open the floor now to our guests and to our media friends from the media and bloggers. If you have any questions.
Bernard?
International premiere at Tokyo. Can you share some feedback or comments of the audience after seeing the film in the Tokyo?
The land where they create a lot of these kind of crazy supernatural kind of creatures in the film. So they have a long history of cinema with very strange things happening. So, but the audience reaction in Tokyo was great because Japanese people are very peculiar in expressing they don't really show much emotion, right? So some people watch the film really trying to keep a straight face while not being scared in the scary moments, trying to be very Japanese. So it was quite funny seeing them kind of fidget a little bit, breaking their Japaneseness.
Well, I attended the Taiwan, yeah, the Taipei festival. The mystical character, they had a lot of questions about that. Maybe I'm not sure if they can relate to it. But it was.
To the director, is there a conscious effort that Filipino audience could be able to relate on this film, or you did it with your own vision, that everyone can relate on this film?
For me, I mean, besides the crazy supernatural creatures and people fighting to get out, which is a genre aspect of it, I think when you talk about the relatability side, I think it's the human element behind it. I mean, this film is really about a young man trying to step out of his father's shadow, trying to inherit a lot of sin that his father has created. This motel, with the responsibility of, being placed in a situation where it's me or them. What does he do? Does he decide to do the right thing? Does he do nothing at their own people, stepping out of their parents' shadow?
How about you, Miss Agot? How do you think a Filipino can relate on this film?
The film presented a lot of dilemma for every character. There's always a dilemma to choose, what is right and what is for survival or for morality. What is the right thing to do? And in everyday lives, we are faced with that same choice that we should make. So, it's maybe magnified lang in a
Director again. This is your second film, right? So how did you start visualizing or doing this film?
Well, my first film is a very straightforward kind of art house drama with the late Pepe Smith. And it was very, it's a very small film, it's a very intimate film. And we wanted to try something totally different this time for the second film. So with my producer, Bianca, who was wrote the film, we decided, let's go crazy as we can, as different as we can, so element to it. So the craziest thing we could think about is what if there was, the legend of creatures, and all of them are linked to the forest, and we have a very strong connection with our forests. So the idea is that what if there was a tree demon in this forest, and what if these illegal loggers kind of cut down this tree? So what if the spirit of this tree demon is stuck inside the wood, and then what if you cut up this wood, as people do to make things, and what if they made into this bit? So this bit now has a vengeful desire to eat the men that cut it down and impregnate the women, so to speak. And then, so there's a bit of like an international kind of touch to it. And also the casting with the international actors, I think it all came down to a lot of international co-production with this film.
I'm a blogger as well. First off, congratulations. And of course, this is a little hard to actually do since you have like an international cast. How did that come about? How did you put together people from different countries?
It's all thanks to my producer Bianca, but the idea of the casting, I think, in our industry locally, like we just with, but it's the same with this thing as well. The international actors, like one of the antagonists, Don, played by Nicholas Saputra. Basically, he's kind of like the John Lloyd of Indonesia. But Bianca met him in a festival in Berlin many years ago, and then they kind of kept in touch. Same thing with Ron Palari, the Malaysian actor. Is kind of like I met him being Malaysian myself. Kind of we have this camaraderie when we go out internationally. So we should work together. And then the same thing with the Thai actor Vitea, who was in Only God Forgives with Ryan Gosling. By Nicholas Winding Refn, and also I think the idea is like all these relationships were created through how you fit this in, how would these guys come in. But then when there's a project that's international like this with a subject matter about immigration, about how these kind of immigrants from our Western land where they think it's the best place to be, and then suddenly they need to escape from this place. So I think it kind of naturally and organically kind of fell into place.
Just curious, why did it become Motel Acacia? And was that like the perfect tree for you? Because there are various mystical trees in the Philippines, and the foremost is Balete.
Yeah, but Motel Balete sounds a bit tough. No, I think it was,
also the word hotel.
Yeah.
I mean the motel, because it's quite different here in the Philippines. Why is it?
I mean, as you will see in the film, like the idea of motel or place of inhabiting is really a front. It's just this facade that the father uses to kind of lure the immigrants. And the motel itself, or whether the place of Motel Acacia in the film, is actually underground. It's kind of like an underground kind of strange mystical bunker. So there's a lot of, immediately from the start you know that this is not a regular motel. This is not motel at all. This is a place where horrible things happen. So Motel Acacia is more of a front that the father uses in the film.
Do you also welcome the notion of putting attention to Asian films now that, I mean, just in the recent Oscars alone, Parasite did actually good. To also, showcase your own now that people are looking into Asian cinema.
I don't think we ever go out to try and like promote Asian cinema. We go out to tell stories and do our own cinema. Especially united in our films. Like you can tell the film is from Southeast Asia because of a certain aesthetic, or maybe we all deal with dreams, we all deal with supernatural things. Even in regular dramas, there's always this mystical element. So I mean, for us, I think what's important is we just keep telling our own kind of cinema. And not trying. I think there's a lot of merit in what we do as well.
All right, thank you. And Miss Agot, I don't use interviews that this film is also about humans actually getting desensitized about deaths or murders per se. Do you think it mirrors what governments are doing? Certain governments, I'm not saying this is the government, are doing with their people?
I think these times we are presented with very, very distinct problems because of immigration, people crossing borders, diba? And I think also there's a certain, if you cross borders, then you bring in also a certain kind of culture, and some people cannot really relate to that. And then there is discord, it's so hard to like come together because of different views in certain things. So I guess the film kind of mirrors that difficulty of different cultures crossing together, and just I guess a lot of problematic situations that come from that crossing borders and immigrations because of global openness. It's weird now we're open, but we're actually closed at the same time.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hey, sir.
To Miss Agot, what was it like working with the film's international cast? And how are you related to JG Santos' character?
In the cast, well, no, preparing also, but also in the movie. It was fun working with different staff or artists, actors from different countries. It's interesting, but parang everyone just brought their A game in the movie, and we saw ayaw mo ng direct, Bradley's vision of the film, and we stayed in Makati for like 2 weeks. We see each other every day in, day out, to Slovenia all together. So it was interesting the way the process is different from Jan's process, especially the Belgian process is different. He's really so much into it, word per word. And I think the Asian actors, the Southeast Asian actors, are more really feeling instinct, gut. I mean, I think that's how we worked as Asians. So, it's interesting. You kind of learn from all of them at the same time, but we have fun. I mean, they're crazy people, just like us.
To direct Bradley, the film has a similar vibe as The Shining. Was it in any way inspired by that film, Motel Acacia?
I'm a big fan of Kubrick's work, but I think this is more of a little bit of a Ridley Scott kind of feeling, a lot of inspiration from the first Alien movie, feeling of the thing as well inside. But these kind of all just like references of certain small little as well.
Last question. Why do you personally choose immigration as a pervading theme for the movie?
I think it's something we can't escape from. I think we are also very desensitized here in Southeast Asia. We think that it is not something that applies to us because we don't live in a Western country. But we are the ones going to these countries. We are the ones ending up in these places thinking it's the better place. And when we get there, we are treated like second-class citizens. So maybe for me, it's always this idea of like, why do you think that going to the West is the answer to all our problems? Maybe we need to fix things right here.
Thank you. And one last question to Miss Agot. Throughout your career, did it ever cross your mind to migrate in another country?
No. But I had a chance before because I studied in the US, and when I could have stayed, I had actually had an American fiance once. And but it really never crossed my mind. I think my heart and my soul really belongs to the Philippines.
To the directors follow up, may we get your thoughts on working with JC and Miss Agot?
You tell them the scene, you put the camera, the action, and then you get it on the first. Go back to actor process because the Belgian actor Jan Bijvoet, I mean, is fantastic, but he also emphasizes a lot on dialogue per se. So he needs to get the dialogue specifically correct, specific intonations. Whereas, like you said, the Filipino actors are more like they just feel it in the moment. But then you have the Indonesian actor who also feels it, but he won't feel it until a little bit into the take. He needs to get into gear. So I think a very challenging moment is when maybe 6 of them or 7 of them all in the same frame. And then you realize that everyone is kicking into gear in different times. So I guess it was really interesting to try and balance it out and try to figure out how to get the best moments from everyone.
Direk, how excited are you now that the movie will have its local run?
This is the best part. I mean, coming back, shooting here and then going out, but then coming back and having the local audience watch it and feel it and maybe scream a little. I think it'll be the best part because this film really belongs to Southeast Asia and a spirit and a soul of Southeast Asian. So I'm very excited.
Okay, thank you.
Mami Jo po, Jo Consoldate. My question goes out to both of you. Have you had experience in a motel when you were traveling?
Maybe dirty. Maybe because the motel's dirty, the bugs. Supernatural experience. Yeah.
I because we also produce for Bianca and I, my producer, we also produce for Lafayette, and we always end up shooting in very remote places, very creepy places. But every time I go on a laugh, yeah, shoot, something supernatural will happen. It's so creepy. Like four people were trying to close his cupboard, could not close. And it's bizarre. Like you open all the windows, but the light would just not penetrate the cupboard. And of course, I slept next to the cupboard. Someone trying to break through the door or something. Yeah, it's quite bizarre. I mean, maybe I was tired, maybe I ate too much rice. I don't know, but yeah, it's definitely creepy. Yeah, that you.
We use from your role here in Motel Acacia?
Angelique's character here is just really a mom. A mom trying to look after her son, who is uh, thousands of miles away. And she would do anything for her son to get well. Actually, the son is sick. And at a certain point, she doesn't know anymore, if her son is alive or not, but she's just trying to survive and to just, in the end, she just really wanted to be with her son. And I think that's very going out of, your comfort zone, going out of your country just to provide for your family. So it's I don't want to say resilience, but I think it's really the determination and the motherly love that goes beyond everything. All the heartaches, all the pain, that's it.
Thank you.
Any more questions?
Yung bed nga pala. Abangan niyo po.
Oh yeah, yung camera is actually in Trinoma right now. If you want to see it, it's exhibited at the cinema lobby of Trinoma, starting today. Okay, yeah.
Huwag niyo nga lang yun.
Lie down at your own risk.
Pwede higaan yung kama actually natin. And then if you take a picture, you might win passes to see Motel Acacia in cinemas on starting March 11, of course. Ayun. Any more questions? Ako may tanong ako. Like, I think everyone is more into the look of the film. Like, was it intentional to make it look different or not like too horror, but what are the
The look and the design of the film with the production designers and Benjamin Padero, Carla Tabihe, who also did Hannah, one of the legends of our industry. When we came in with the design, we really wanted it to be different. We didn't want like a classic kind of creepy dark hallway kind of feeling, because if this was a front, if this was a facade where people are supposed to feel allegedly safe when they enter the motel, it needed to have a very different kind of feeling. So we kind of went about making it feel like you're underground in the spaceship, kind of like. So it's got a very science fiction kind of this metallic gleam that's very bright. So I think that's very special because usually when you watch very dark and something's gonna pop out, but here I think it's more terrifying when everything is lit, so you see everything in its horrific glory.
For like 2 weeks, right? And they turned down the temperature. Talagang, it was so cold. It was really, really cold. And we were layered with vests and sweaters and outer covering, but we were still cold. That was Bradley. So. And even me and another woman in the pool that is so cold. Seriously, talagang para akong, ooh. But it helped. That whole experience was not cold. It was there.
Yeah, and then you were in Slovenia with
Yeah. Slovenia with in the snow with
no
no
pants.
pants. Yeah, so it was not fun, but no, it was fun as an actor. I mean, to get what I live for. Yeah.
And I think it was great because the entire motel was built incredible, everything from hand.
Yeah, and actually, just watching the film, you feel cold. It's the color palette, even the visuals, very cold. So it kind of brings that sensation.
What do you think how can you explain to the people like kung ano yung iba dito sa cut na ilalabas natin?
I think it's great because usually when you do a director's cut or something, or you do like a commercial cut, people kind of trim off minutes, but I actually added almost 5 minutes of footage into this film. A lot more creepy scenes, a lot more character moments. And the beauty of it is we also did another full sound design class. We got a French sound designer. So I think it's really special because I mean, not to say that we don't like working with people here, but we have the same related South African. So everything is a great collaborator who's French, who's based in Cambodia right now. So everything, it's kind of like this. The film travels even in the post production process to kind of. So it's all new sound as well.
Oh,
Yeah.
Anyone? Any questions?
agad pa lang po. How's working with JC?
Have I worked with JC before this? I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so. JC, Brad didn't want him to eat because he needed to be very, very skinny for the role. Because it was, starving. It has to be at a time where food is scarce and, and he wasn't eating. So he's so dedicated and so focused, and he would show up 100%, 110%, he's there.
No, we didn't starve him. I mean, he
But
just
he didn't eat.
he just had to eat like a salad.
Yeah,
A salad.
yeah.
While we had lechon, he had a salad.
Yeah, and if there's food there, we would say, Brado, JC's eating, then JC would just drop it. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, but he's such a great guy to work with. He is 150%, 200% there. Even if you don't need him, he will just be very supportive of everyone.
Last direct, so far, how's working with Black Sheep?
It's fantastic. I mean, Black Sheep, it's really wonderful because they came in with the majority of the finance. I mean, this film's an international co-production, so the way we finance, the financing structure comes from a lot of. I'm very happy to say the majority of the financing structure comes from the Philippines and ours. So, it's wonderful because the amount of creative freedom you thank you.
Okay, thank you, Director Bradley and Miss A. 11th, 2020. It's rated R13 by the MTRCB, and we're so excited to see you with you guys. We will have our on March 9th, Cinema 6 Gateway. There will be a special roundtable.